Hello, my loves. This is Heidi Raquel with your February soul message for 2021. I absolutely did not think that I was going to be coming in with a message at all. The energies have been so intense. I feel like there's just too much, and it would be a disservice not to come in and at least bring some of it down to earth. So, a couple changes. Just in this 1 week of being off of Instagram, so much has shifted, so much has moved, and so much understanding about it has come through. So my intention right now is to shift my focus to where I'm placing the videos. Even the fact that I'm editing this horizontally or filming it horizontally is on purpose. My intention is to come back to offering these mainly on YouTube so that I am not limited to the 15 minutes that IGTV allows, because I'm feeling like the wisdom and the information that's coming through for me, I'm getting the message and call that I cannot limit myself and fit myself into a box or a container of something that someone else or some structure would allow. That's part of the energy that's coming through for all of us anyways. So, bear with me a little bit. It's the horizontal camera is awkward on the phone because the orientation, if I look directly at the camera, it looks like I'm looking to the side, and if I try to look directly at it, I have to look through the lens. I don't know why Apple has not figured this out, but it's super annoying. So anyways, my intent here is to leave a February soul message and then to go dark again for the rest of the month, and to likely come back at the beginning of March with a March soul message, because this time off just in this 1 week has given me so much information and allowed me to really drop into my own work in a way that I think is going to benefit going forward with more offerings, more connection for community, and all kinds of things. So first off, the February soul message is titled Upside Down. I've been doing these for 3.5 years, and usually when I tune in and I ask for a message for the month, it's pretty singular. Like I'll get one thing and then I might get a little bit around it. This month and the last couple months have been so much that I could have titled this multiple things, and it's hard to even like whittle it down. So what I mean by the upside down is several things. One is we are kind of in the upside down. So if you watch Stranger Things, you know what I mean. The upside down is like the underworld. And the message that I'm getting is that we are in the upside down. We are in the underworld, but we have thought that we were in the topside world our whole lives, all this time for thousands of years going back. And the energy of that is starting to come forward and starting to be revealed. So things aren't making sense. Puzzle pieces don't fit together. Like when I was talking about it back in, I don't know, September, October, like I kept talking about this wisdom of the earth that was coming up, and there was reveal energy that was coming. And then suddenly it just kind of disappeared. And it's very peculiar because energy just doesn't disappear. Like it has to be put somewhere. It has to be, even in healing, grief, like if you stuff it down, it doesn't go anywhere. It sits in your body and it festers and it becomes illness, or it becomes, release in the body. It has to go somewhere. So it was very odd to me that it felt like it disappeared. And then almost as if it had been scrubbed and cleaned from the consciousness. And I don't even understand what that means, but that's the energy. That's what it felt like. And then right around the inauguration and the couple days afterwards, I did talk about last week, that sense of crossing that threshold, that bridge into the new world. And then it felt like the road was all smushed together, and like we got over here and it wasn't clear. And it's like you have to climb your way out of it. What are we doing? What is this? And the energy that I felt directly after that was this sense of like one of those glass containers with the plastic snap lids. And it's like all of a sudden, like the moment after the inauguration, it was like the lid came down and the snaps came down and everything was like tight and buttoned up, and it felt like a hard pressure on you know, above us, like on the top, like everything is trying to be like held and clamped down. And this is no comment about politics. Like, I'm just reading the energy. I'm like, what is this? And just in this last week, that reveal energy, I'm starting to feel it again. And it's really strange. It's like it was coming, and then something came and pushed the ball back underneath the water. And now whatever's trying to hold that ball underground is losing its strength and its ability somehow. And so it feels like it's already starting to seep up off the sides around the ball. And it's coming up. So it feels like it's coming shortly, although we are in Mercury retrograde until February 21st. And then there's about 3 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks integration after that. So I think we're in the integration until the middle of March, 15th, 13th, something around there, if I remember correctly. So that's all here. That's all strange. And I'm just seeing like everything is upside down. And for me personally, I haven't been sleeping well. I'm like channeling all night long. Information is coming in. It's kind of like I have another job in the middle of the night and I'm not getting sleep. So if anyone's having that, it's just, it's nuts. And then reading the energy every day, it's so different. And I'm learning to be kind of a servant or a diligent student of spirit and just asking, where do I need to be today? So although I thought that I was going to go dark, then I heard, no, you know, come forward for this February message, and then I'm going to go dark again until March. So I already talked about nothing makes sense, the clamping down energy. Okay, so here's another piece. This is a really beautiful teaching, and this is like an all the time teaching, but very specific right now. One of the greatest assets, if not the greatest asset that you have, that humans have, spiritual beings in a human body having a human experience, one of the greatest assets that you have is your attention. And, you know, a great example of that and where it's used in, I guess, a positive light, I don't know how you want to look at that, but is in the military. When I was, you know, feeling into the sense of attention, you know, in the military, when they're doing training, it's like left, right, left, you know, attention, like this. Like when you're saying words out loud while you're moving your physical body, all of your attention is right there. It's right present in your body. And it's needed to. Like in the military, if you're not present, if you're not in your body, you're not going to survive. And not only are you not going to survive, but the mission that you are on for the greater good of, you know, country, whatever it is, you're not going to survive, and the mission is going to fail. So you need to be absolutely at attention, you know, in that paying attention. And but in the rest of the life, they don't really want you to be at attention. They don't want you to be paying attention to what's going on. And so they use advertising and media and all kinds of things to lull us to sleep so that we're not really in the driver's seat. We're kind of half awake. And just bumbling around. So one of the other things that I saw, I talked about this last week, the first image that I was shown when I asked about February was a car with its wheel cranked all the way to one side. And it's like we have been thinking that we were in the driver's seat because we're physically in the driver's seat of the car. But the wheel has been cranked all the way to one side. So we're just actually spinning in circles and going, you know, making donuts, but we're not actually getting anywhere. But we have the false idea that we're getting somewhere because we're sitting behind a car and we can physically see these things. But we're not paying attention to what's happening behind the scenes energetically. And I've heard a lot of people talking about how, you know, we're in this like technology war. And I would say, okay, yes, there might be a technological aspect to it, but I would say that it's more of an energetic war. It's more of an attention war. Where are you going to place your attention? And it's one of the reasons I pulled back from Instagram, because I could feel my energy being kind of siphoned out when I was in there, and that, you know, false constructs start to show up. Envy energy, greed, comparing, competition, Being on there and feeling like you have to post to get followers, or to make a name for yourself, or to seem important, or to have any value. And of course, none of that means anything. So I just offer that as one example of where and how your energy can be siphoned really easily without you noticing. It can happen with music. It can happen with watching TV, like anything. You just need to be really clear and paying attention to where you're allowing your attention to go. And I said last week that coming on to Instagram is like, my guide said that it's like being in the Matrix, and you kind of need to like armor up energetically before you come in, and like go in, do your thing, and get out, and watch where you get lured or hooked or pulled emotionally, and just notice where those hooks are, and like, hey, is that serving you? Is it not serving you? Where do you want your attention to go? Because you want to be in the driver's seat. And so what we're learning to do, the reveal energy, the wake up, the information from the earth, we're starting to see this wheel in front of us that it's been cranked hard left or whatever. And so we're just going in circles. And so we're now, but it doesn't feel like it's happening for everyone. It's like bit by bit, one person after the other. Every single person has to individually intend. The two most important things are intention and attention. Energy flows where attention goes. So just pay attention to that and watch where your energy goes. So your intention, it's like a target. And it's like, I'm intending to point my arrow to this target, and then your attention helps it get there. If your attention's splattered all over the place, your arrow's never going to get to your target because it's focused in too many places. So what we're learning to do, however, it doesn't feel like it's happening collectively. It feels like it's happening one, individual by individual, who kind of is starting to wake up and seeing this, looking at the wheel and going, holy shit, where have I been going? And checking that out and going, okay, so we have to course correct a little bit. We have to start doing this. And so there's this wobbliness. There's a little bit of like a learning to drive in a new car, a bigger car, a different, something where we're not comfortable with it. We're not familiar. And it's also really hard to pull the wheel because there's so much riding on that being yanked. It's like it's been manipulated. So it isn't going to be just as easy to do that. Like, you have to be really attentive and focused. This is where all of your tools are super important. Meditation, chanting, channel writing, essential oils. I'm offering through doTERRA now, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But all of those tools, we really need all of our tools on board, on deck, on hand right now, because this is an uphill battle. There's a lot of weight riding on us not waking up, and it feels like there's a lot of intention writing on us not waking up. And like I said, I'm not going into politics or whatever, like trying to figure out what any of that means. I did get a crazy download the other night about religion, and just this way that each of us individually has a direct line to God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. And that the church, I'm not talking about spirituality or the teachings of the Bible or any of that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to get into any of that. But the church, so to speak, has tried to come in, like we have this direct line with spirit, and it's like church has tried to come in and get in the way of that flow so that we look to church for our answers or for our connection, and we simply don't need it. I'm not saying church can't be beneficial and that you don't get something out of that with community and the teachings that are offered or any of that, but I'm saying that there's a way that there's been manipulation used to try to keep us away from that direct connection. So I just offer that came through the other night. Okay, so specifically about oils, this is what's been coming to me since I brought doTERRA into my practice. And one of the main reasons why I was called to do it is for 3 years, I kept getting the message that this oil or that oil would help with a client. And then they're like, where do I get it? I don't know. So now I've partnered with doTERRA so that I can offer that for clients. The reason being, because a lot of the work that I do is spiritual, mental, emotional plane. And, but we need something else to help anchor and root it in the body. And essential oils are plant medicine. They teach us the wisdom of the plants, the lessons and the messages that plants have. And so when we take those up, it's like the information that I'm using for clients is like it's coming from above and it's coming down in. The wisdom from the oils, plant medicine of any kind, even, eating a plant-based diet, helps with this as well. It brings the wisdom up from the earth so that the energy is moving in both directions. So it's easier to root the wisdom that's coming down if you can root it and anchor it in your body for that memory. So, and I don't know about you all, but I've been super exhausted lately. Like I said, I feel like I have another job in the middle of the night and I'm like off somewhere else, getting more information. Okay, so a couple things about oils for this month. So doTERRA offers a free oil for current members in their what's called a loyalty rewards program, LRP. So the oil for the month, this month in February, is lemon eucalyptus, which could not be better timed. It's about protected space. So energetically protecting your space. And there's so much coming at us that we have to discern, like what feels real, what doesn't feel real, tuning into the wisdom in our own bodies. So that could not be better timed. And then also it's a 200 PV month. And if you don't know what that means, reach out to me if you're interested. But they're offering 4 more free products and they're all On Guard, which is great for immunity boosting and great for sanitizing, protecting, all those kind of things. So there's an oil, there's a spray, there's a roller ball, and what is the last thing? Oil, spray, roller ball, and a hand wash. So that is the free oil. The oil that I'm recommending for this month that's coming to me energetically is bergamot. And the reason for that, bergamot has the energy of self-acceptance. So as we begin to wake up and we're looking at this car and we're going, oh my God, where have I been going? And who's been directing this ship? And how did I get here? And, all of that makes me think of the Talking Heads song. How did I get here? So it's all of that. It's like, as we're waking up to that, we have to grant ourselves the forgiveness and the acceptance for having allowed ourselves to be led astray, to not be kind of in charge of our own vehicle, and the vehicle being our body. In charge of our own kind of life, right? And then bergamot also has the energy of like, a dinner bell calling all the children at home. It's like all the scattered bits of yourself that's spread all over the place. And that's happening so much right now with all the narratives that are being spun. And so many of those narratives are being created to keep us divided. And you just have to know that, be aware of it. Like, to do as much as you can to like hang out in the center and not be divided on one side or the other, because that's what they want. So bergamot calls all of the parts of yourself back home into the center line so that you can be in that driver's seat. And that's like the left, right, left of, oils. So let's see. Well, I still haven't even pulled a card. The last announcement that I had was Women's Circle of February 11th. I usually do it on the 3rd Thursday of every month. This month was not possible for that, so I'm still seeing clients, still doing spirit readings, still doing oils. Women's Circle next Thursday. Last I checked, there was 5 spots available. You can find out about that on my website, and it looks like the card's coming. The Shapeshifter. I mean, could this not be better for the upside down, for the underworld? It's like, what we thought was good is evil. What we thought was evil is good. It's all of that. It's hilarious. It's like we can't make this shit up. And it's It's the excessive dreaming at night. It's the crazy dreams. It's the feeling like you've been in another, planet hemisphere all night, and then waking up and just being like, oh my God, where have I been? Okay, the shapeshifter, the trickster, the elusive, the formless. The shapeshifter has a love of theater, games, and trickery. Its energy appears as one thing, only to reveal a more complex story below the surface. The shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. We need its energy to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of our existence, which is full on in the house right now. I should mention that Mercury retrograde's kind of any kind, but Mercury retrograde specifically is about all the reassess, reevaluate, review. So everything, like the forward motion of things gets kind of reversed. So that reveal energy, it feels like it wouldn't come during the retrograde and that it would come after in March, but no promises. Who knows? The shapeshifter card appears, when the shapeshifter card appears, it's important to imagine you are looking at life through a kaleidoscope rather than a single focus lens. And that is so perfect. I've already done the image for the cover of this video, and it's exactly that. At any moment, the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you imagined. Be wary, though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. Dancing long-term with the shapeshifter requires a central pillar of integrity that links us back to our center. When light, vibrant, adaptive, humorous; when dark, charlatan, people-pleasing, trickery. To go deeper, Cindy Sherman. I'm feeling called to add this piece right now. There is a series on, I think it's HBO, called His Dark Materials, and they talk about the Eleusinian fields. That is what I keep seeing, is like, the idea of being able to step from one world into the other world is more real than we think. And, I did a spirit reading for somebody years ago that I didn't even know. And it was amazing what I saw. It was like, we're standing in the center of all of these circles that are concentric going up. And it's like each one of the lines that's going up, each one of the circles is a different lifetime. And we're going backwards and forwards and like tap dancing along those all the time. And it's like we're not even really here. It's like when we're sleeping, or it's multiple overlapping lifetimes. I don't know. I'm probably losing you because I'm going so off the rails today. The ultimate shapeshifter works undercover in service of the greater good. The diminished shapeshifter becomes a people pleaser. Let me say that again. That's super important. The ultimate shapeshifter works undercover in service of the greater good. That's attention and intention placed on good. The diminished shapeshifter becomes a people pleaser. That's the person behind the car, behind the wheel, that does not realize that someone else has turned the wheel. The shapeshifter is related to the mask, which interestingly enough was my card of the year last year. And then of course we had Corona. So, I'll finish this and then I'll get back to that. Notice if these cards come up together in one reading of the shapeshifter and the mask. If so, you are in the realm of heavy theater, illusion, possibly deception. So last year I did my Oracle spread for the year, and you can find that in my, I did it last year and I did it this year. You can find it in my Instagram feed. I've done it for several years, but last year I got the mask, and then of course we saw what happened with Corona, and I also had the Jaguar, which is all about purging the excess and dumping whatever is not necessary. And I pull these cards for myself, but as I'm doing these reporting, for years now, I realize, oh, well, some of the energy that's coming through for me is like also for the collective. So this year I have the Shadow, which is exactly what I'm talking about now, and I have Justice. And so it's like I'm seeing that for the collective, that the shadow has to be revealed. It's as if you had, a sphere with light and dark. It's like the dark has been heavily weighted, like 3/4 or more, and the light has just barely been peeking here. And more people are waking up now, and the light is going like this, and it's starting to push the shadow back and reveal. So that's that reveal energy that I'm seeing. So thanks so much as I just went off. And, you know, I'll say one more thing. You know, there's a lot of us out in the world, and I hope to speak to them and find them and call them in. People like me who, you know, when they were children, they had this sense of talking to trees, talking to animals, you know, being aware of the unseen realms and all of that. And certainly like me, I think many people pushed that down and ignored that, or were ashamed or embarrassed of it and didn't bring it forward in their lives because it was not safe to do so. It didn't feel safe. And I just call upon all of you now, because it is super important in the time that we're in, to wake up and be finding those gifts, using those gifts. You know, that's a big attention and intention that I have in my practices, to help people find those things so that they can give them to the world. So I know, you know, my messages sometimes can be heady, because it's like I'm talking from this upper level, and this is why it's been so important for me to bring the oils in, so that when I'm talking that way, if I'm losing, you know, people, I can try to grab people from the earthly realm through the oils. And in that vein, I will share also, I have been for years now offering, I give a $25 gift certificate for anyone who refers someone to me, but I'm also doing an additional one now. If you have been a current client and for healing sessions, and you come over to become a doTERRA client, you will receive $25 gift credit for future services, and vice versa. So if you come to me also as a doTERRA client and you want to come over and try services, you get a $25 credit for services. And if you come and you want both at the same time, you're still going to get the 25 credit for doing both. So, all right. I think we're done here. Love to love you. I hope you're doing well. Hang in. You're not alone. I am doing more research about how to create online communities that are not on Facebook, not on Instagram, that are private, that are intentional communities, people that want to do this kind of work on this level, to continue to go forward, so that I can bring kind of the level of healing work that I do with individual clients to groups. So that's kind of my intention, and some of what I'm going to be doing over the rest of the month as I go dark and listen to where my guides would have me go. So, all right, have a beautiful month, and wish you all well. Hang in there, use your tools, and be kind to yourself and to one another. Namaste.